Hello and welcome back to TGTV, and more specifically welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Watch Talk. My watch series is back. I know I've been super slack on this. You've been asking for a while to make more watch videos, and I've been saying I'm going to do it and blah blah blah, and these are actually probably the easiest videos to film, but for whatever reason I haven't made one. So I'm back with a bang, and I'm back with a new addition to my collection, and one that none of you probably would have guessed was coming. I wouldn't have guessed it was coming as of about a month ago. However, without further waffle, I'm gonna get to it. I've got a box here. You may well have spotted that, and you may well have seen it in the preceding B-roll. Some of you may actually have guessed it from the clues in the B-roll. There were some slight subtle ones there, but it's here with me. So I'm gonna unbox it. I'm gonna talk through what it is, why I got it, and why I like it so much. And as with all my watch videos, you'll be in with a chance of winning your very own with BOTB. More details on that coming up very shortly. Right, let's get to it then. What do I have here? We have the box here, ladies and gentlemen. We like unboxing. This is YouTube. This is what YouTube's about. So the flap there is open. So, what do we have? This is a brand that many of you probably will not have heard of up until very recently. So to set the scene then. A few moons ago, this particular brand, Gerard Perregaux, they got in touch with me. Oh, nearly shook the camera off there. Gerard Perregaux got in touch with me recently and they said, "Oi, TGE." I said, "Yes." I'm not gonna do that voice anymore. "Do you want to do a campaign with us? Do you want to work with us? Do you want to do some cool bits?" I said, by all means, yes, I do. I knew about the brand, but I didn't know a huge amount about it. So I was quite new to it, but I looked into them a bit more. I looked at some of their current pieces, and I thought, these are quite cool. So I did a little campaign with them. I did some Instagram stuff. Some of you may have seen that on my Instagram. Hopefully we'll be able to stick some on the screen now, somewhere around. So I did a little campaign with them. During that time, I was lent a steel version of the Laureato, which is their kind of, for want of a better comparison, their equivalent of a Royal Oak or a Nautilus or their Submariner. You know, they're kind of like day-to-day sports watch. They lent me a steel one of those and a black ceramic skeleton version of that as well. They lent me 2 pieces. Actually, no, I lied. There's 3 pieces actually. They actually lent me a Neo bridge in titanium as well, and that is also on my Instagram. Really cool piece of kit, exposed, open work stuff, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, got 3 pieces lent to me anyway to get the campaign going, to get some content and blah, blah, blah. Unfortunately, I had to send all 3 of them back. I mean, they're not gonna give me all those watches. The Neo bridge is about £18,000. The black ceramic one is 28, the black ceramic one is about 28,500, and the stainless steel Laureato, which actually came to the south of France with me, that's about 12,000, I believe. So all in all, probably about 50, 60 grand's worth of kit delivered to me to do the content and blah, blah, blah. They all had to go back with the courier. They were not my watches. However, there was one piece from that kind of little delivery that I was wearing around a lot and I fell in love with. So I contacted them after the campaign was over and I said, "Oi, GP, can I have this particular piece?" And we managed to source one for me. It's their most popular model. I think it sells more than any of their other models. And certainly this line does. And they struggled to get hold of one. But they got hold of one for me. And I've now got it. So that is what's in this box. And that is how that came about. I'm being totally honest with you all. That's exactly what's happened. This hasn't been a gift from them. I've had to pay for this watch, okay? This is not a gift. This is not an advert either. I'm not advertising Gerard Perregaux watches. They have not asked me to do this video. I'm not contractually bound to do it. There's nothing to that. I'm actually just a customer. I want to make that clear. I do sell a lot of stuff on this channel, but this is not an advert. None of it is, okay? I promise as well. I hope you believe me, because I actually really like this watch, genuinely. Just like the Tudor ones as well. I want to touch on that. So many of you I meet, they bought Tudor watches and they say, "Were you paid to say any of that?" No, I wasn't paid to market Tudor or anything like that. I wish I was. I wish, you know, Rolex SA or whatever their head group was paying me to market these things, but they're honestly not. I've still got 5 or 6 of them, can't remember. And I still love them. So just a word on the Watch Talk videos, I'm not paid to talk about any of the watches that I am talking about, okay? That's just thought I'd get that out of the way, because this is not a paid thing. I wish on these ones. In fact, here is the receipt. Anyway, right, let's get unboxing then. I'll try not to shake the camera around too much because I'm really excited. Popping it open here then. Nice solid box, try not to break it. In here then, ladies and gents, my new watch. So the more observant ones amongst you, the ones that pay attention to my Instagram, will recognise off the bat, oh look, it folds flat. That's chaos. It's very nice actually, I like that. Very nice box actually, I would say. Very, very nice box. Some of these watches, you would think they come in kind of very nice presentation boxes, but they don't. They're pretty hellish. But this is actually very, very nice. Very solidly made. The hinges are lovely. That's a good bit of kit, that. We like that. Anyway, let's get the watch out because we don't really care about the box that much. The boxes actually are a nuisance on the whole. They're actually a bit of a nuisance. I have to go and store them all separately. They don't fit in the vault with all the watches, so they have to be all stored separately. A bit of a pain, but they are quite nice anyway. We do like them. So the box is going to go away. Go over there. Go away! So then, yes, this is the black ceramic skeleton Laureato. So this is kind of Gerard Perregú's, they're kind of their sports watch, if you like. But this features an open work movement and it's got a full black ceramic case. Ceramic, as many of you will know, is super light, it's super strong, and is also quite resistant to kind of temperature changes and whatnot like that. So if you're wearing this in the sun, it won't get too hot. If you're wearing it when it's cold, it doesn't get too cold. It's all in all quite a good material to make watches from. However, ceramic is extremely difficult to make watches out of. I mean, I've never tried it myself, but it's a very difficult material to work with, especially when you're machining very, very, very small details, and the craftsmanship has to be absolutely perfect and spot on. Everything has to fit together properly because people will spot it. You can't get away with putting out a watch at this level with kind of different sized gaps and poor machining. So especially with the different type of finishes there are on the watch. Part of the bracelet is brushed, part of the bracelet has polished mid links. Even the bezel, there's loads of different edges. Some of them are brushed, some of them are polished, and that's what gives the watch the charm. You don't instantly recognize it or notice it, but it's just one of those things you kind of look at and you keep looking at and you kind of discover the more you have it. I'm going to put it on whilst I talk anyway, so you can see it on whilst I'm talking. There will be close-ups. Look at it there, it's sick. There's something about all black watches I've just got back into. Absolutely love it, and the open work kind of detailing in there is fantastic. Anyway, I'm going to give you all a bit of a history lesson. So then, going back a few years, even before I was born, yes, this particular line, the Laureato, was actually introduced in 1975, so that's a full 3 years after the Royal Oak AP. And that's the comparison people are going to be drawing already. People are going to be talking about AP in the comments already. I know they are. But actually before the Patek Philippe Nauta. So they've got similar design cues. This actually looks like a Gerald Genta piece. It is not designed by Gerald Genta. The Nautilus was, and the Royal Oak was as well. It's got integrated bracelet. It's got an octagonal bezel as well. Fast forward to 2018 then, and the Laureato has grown slightly. Obviously the movement has changed and they're now producing it in this particular variant. It features an open work movement. The bridging and some of the skeletonized movement inside is PVD coated. That means it's blacked out. And there is also a bronze balance wheel at the 12 o'clock position, which is left in its natural color, which kind of looks a little bit gold. Hopefully there's some close-ups of the movement right there. The movement is actually called a GP1800-0006. You can see it all going on in there. And actually the second hand isn't a typical big second hand that goes a whole way around. It's actually a very, very small kind of running seconds little wheel, which you'll see in the footage as well. And on the back of the watch is obviously open worked as well. You've got a sapphire piece of glass, and underneath that you can see the large prominent rotor, which is made of 18 karat gold. And obviously as that spins round, that charges up the watch, that puts power into the spring tightens up, and then that releases over time, powering the watch. All very cool, and you can see it all going on. Do you know what though? One thing I do get in trouble with at work, I sit there in meetings and I just end up staring at my watch, and people think I'm being rude, but actually I'm just looking at all going on in there, and it's often a lot more interesting than what people are talking about in front of me. Fully charged then, say after like a weekend's worth of use or just hand winding it yourself, power reserve is 54 hours, which is quite a lot. I mean, it's a good couple of days or so. More than enough anyway, and if you rotate your watches or you put them on a watch winder or anything like that, then shouldn't be an issue, so pretty decent to be fair. 25 joules in the movement as well. But all that kind of technical nonsense aside, one thing I love about this watch is the fact that actually when you're walking around and you're perhaps in a fairly rough area, it's not a flashy watch. If you look at that from a distance, you don't think, oh, that lad's got an expensive watch on. It kind of just goes under the radar, and a lot of the time, especially in London these days, that's actually not a bad idea. It's not always the best idea to have a really flashy watch on. Sometimes it can get you in trouble, and a lot of the times it can just end up getting pinched off you, either violently or on the sly. Sometimes it's not always a good idea to have a flashy watch, and this one, I think it's just nice. Watch people kind of clock it and have a conversation with you about it. They won't always know what it is either. Sometimes they will think it's an AP and they'll ask you, you know, how have you got an AP skeleton that's blacked out? That's one thing as well I wanted to touch on. AP don't make a skeletonized blacked out watch. The only ones that they will do is a steel one, and then some customization companies have blacked them out in PVD steel. There are no ceramic skeleton APs, which I think is quite cool and makes this piece actually very, very unique. Patek obviously don't make blacked out watches in any respect, be it black ceramic or black steel. They don't do anything like that. So it's actually a very unique piece and it operates in a kind of its own like market segment, which I quite like. There's also something to be said about having something a little bit different. I know that obviously I've got a lot of the same watches as a lot of watch collectors, you know, the Submariners and all the rest of it. I know I've obviously got a lot of the same watches as a lot of watch collectors, you know, the kind of the boring, typical stuff, you know, the steel Rolexes and all the rest of it. It's quite nice to have something slightly left of field. Going back to the theft thing then, a question that I get asked non-stop in DMs and kind of comments and whatever is about watch insurance. I get asked about watch insurance so much. I actually insure all my watches with a company called First Point. They actually do car insurance as well. More on that another time. I'll be mentioning and talking about car insurance and how it all works and how best to actually get proper cover for your cars, especially supercars. But watch insurance is extremely important, especially if you live in a city. They are ridden with crime and you can actually get it insured to be robbed off your wrist, or not be robbed off your wrist, you know what I mean, and obviously stored at home as well. Really important you get a proper insurer to sort that out, and obviously a good broker who will put you into those insurance companies. So First Point, absolutely brilliant, big shout out to them. They understand my ever-moving collection, and I just want to say huge thanks to them for sorting out my collection basically and insuring me to wear whatever I want, whenever I want. So big thumbs up to them. I will leave their details below. Go and get in touch with them for a quote. It's not actually as bad as you might think, and if the worst happens and something does happen to one of your watches, then thank me later. Anyway, big shout out to First Point anyway. Moving on then, we will get on to price, because price is a little bit controversial about Gerard Perregaux. They are not cheap watches. They are operating in a segment of the market where they are rivaling the likes of AP price-wise. They are nudging at Patek. They're above Rolex. So it's a bit controversial for a brand that, in the UK at least, aren't that well known. It's very punchy, the pricing. I wouldn't say extortionate, but they are not cheap watches. This particular watch, retail price on it is £28,500. To let that sink in then, that is £8,000 more than a 5711 Nautilus. Obviously list price, I mean, but that's now 60 grand. So if you look at resale and where these watches come in at, where they compare to, you know, the likes of a basic steel Royal Oak, which I believe is probably over 20k now. This is a hell of a lot of watch for the money. To get a ceramic open worked Swiss watch like this with a brand that actually has some heritage to it, 28.5 grand retail actually isn't that bad. I realise that's ridiculous, it's nearly £30,000 on a watch, but I don't think where it stacks up in the market, I don't think that's actually too bad a value, especially with resale prices being where they are and everything kind of going through the roof. These are actually extremely good value, and you can pick these up used for about $24,000 I've seen on Chrono24. They do sell them worldwide, they're all over the place, and you can get a bit of a deal on them. Obviously you can go into store and you can buy one in Selfridges or wherever. They sell them in Selfridges and Boucher boutiques as well, I believe. I usually shop in watches in Switzerland, and I've just actually got a new piece from there the other day, which I'll go on to. It's been an expensive month. So yeah, a little bit of background there on my black ceramic, and you'll see this watch in my videos being worn all over the place. It's a cool piece of kit, and if you see me at car shows or whatever, by all means come and have a look at it, we'll have a little chat, and I think it will actually surprise you in the flesh how nice it is. But one thing's for sure, whenever you're around watch people, they always want to know more about it. They clock it and they want to know what it is. They want to talk about it, and many of them will have heard of the brand and they've kind of seen them about, but no, they just don't get that much exposure in the UK, and it's a bit criminal really. So I am actually eyeing up the steel version of this as well. I might well end up with the steel version because I actually just love it, and I think the steel, the open work movement in it actually is picked up a lot better because the bridges aren't PVD. It's actually all so it's all actually quite light in there, so it's quite nice. A lot of the detail on this is lost because it's dark. I quite like that. It means it's not so flashy. But they do a full gold version as well, which I've kind of been eyeing up also, so might end up with it all three colours, to be honest. I love it. It sits flush on the wrist. You can see there, look, it's actually quite flat, it's non-intrusive. It just fits all in all very well. It's a 42mm dial as well, so it's not huge, but the bezel is actually quite slim as well, so doesn't wear like a big watch. I've got quite skinny wrists, and it just wears quite nicely. It's very light, it's just great. It is also water resistant as well. It's not a diving watch, but you could go swimming in it. It's absolutely fine. It's got a screw down crown. All in all, it's a good shout. Scratch proof sapphire glass, anti-reflective crystal. I don't know if there's anything else really to say about it. All in all, just a cool piece of kit, and I thought I'd make a video just touching on that. Don't forget, BOTB, you can win your own version. Hit the link below and you'll see which Gérard Péregeux models are offered, because there are other models in the line as well. Make sure you go check that out. There are hundreds of other watches, there are hundreds of cars as well, there are gadgets, there are lifestyle prices as well, as always with BOTB. There is a winner of a car every single week. You've got to be 16 or over to enter. Make sure you hit the links below, and if you win a watch, I've threatened this before, I may well turn up and hand it to you. Surprise you at your work, at your front door. It may happen. So get involved in that competition, and fingers crossed you win, and fingers crossed I'll come and say hello and hand you a watch. I think that's pretty much all I've got time for. Hope you enjoyed this little watch talk video. They feel quite sedentary. I'm just sat here. I can't do any dramatic action. It's obviously just sitting talking about watches, so there's very little I can do to kind of spice this up. However, if you do enjoy them, please leave a like. Please leave a little comment, share it wherever you can, because if these videos don't get that many views, I'm not encouraged to do them. It's all about AdSense these days. So yeah, please do share your support. And every little like, every little comment, every little share on our watch forum here and there, it all helps push the video, push the channel, and supports what I do. But seeing the support from you lot, it actually kind of drives me to do more. And I know there's a little community of watch people out there that like cars and like watches as well, and they really want to see these videos. So please, 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 keep banging the drum. Make sure you check out the links below anyway. Everything I mentioned, I always leave the links below. Thank you so much for watching. It feels like I haven't breathed. I need to go and eat. I've been at work all day. I'm absolutely starving. Apologies there, battery ran out. Anyway, that is all I've got time for. Thank you so much for watching. Do subscribe. Let me know what you want to see on the channel next. I bought a new watch recently, actually, that some of you will see in my BAC mono video, and that is probably coming up very, very shortly, along with a collection video as well. A rare collection video on the channel for a watch. Stay tuned, leave a comment, blah, blah, blah. I'll see you all very soon. Bye now.